Hello and welcome to BlytheRay Business News, where today I'm joined by Stene Jacobs, who's Chief Operating Officer of London-listed Apollon Formularies, and Thokozani Shongwe, who is Chief Executive Officer of Tri-Medi Canna in South Africa. Stene, welcome on the show. Maybe I'll start with you, please. You've just signed a joint venture agreement with Tri-Medi Canna. Tell us what that joint venture is hoping to achieve.
Hi, Tim. Well, I think what we have in Jamaica has proved to be very successful. We have a vertically integrated business doing very well in Jamaica, from the cultivation side, extraction, all the way through to clinical research and patient treatment. We've been spending the last few years making sure that model was well oiled, and it's been my sort of aspiration to find other jurisdictions in the world where we could emulate that business model. Me being South Africa was always on my list, and for the last 5 or 6 months, we've been negotiating with Thokozani to emulate what we have in Jamaica in South Africa.
Thokozani, let's come to you now. So for viewers who probably aren't aware of Tri-Medi Canna, give us some of the background. Where's your company come from? What does it do?
Firstly, thank you, Tim, for having us on your show. Well, Tri-Medi Canna started about 3 to 4 years ago, when South Africa decided that they'd actually legalize the cannabis sector. We obviously knew as a business that most people would obviously look at the recreational sector, but we wanted to take a slightly different turn and focus on the medical cannabis side. So our journey was simple. We wanted to find solutions for Africans by Africans. And I think that decision was vindicated when we hit the pandemic and we were in hard lockdown. Many South Africans and fellow Africans on the continent were really concerned when it came to the vaccine rollout, because Africa, to be very honest, was on the bottom of the list because we didn't have the resources that the large Western companies had. And that the trade and investment in Durban last year in KZN, this is one of the hottest topics that was being discussed about. It's time for Africa to really take a serious look at themselves and focus in getting into the pharmaceutical space and try to find those solutions. And as Stene has said, for us, it was a perfect fit for us to meet Apollon Formularies team, get involved with them because we share the same values, we share the same passion in terms of the cannabis plant. Because as you know, for us in South Africa, we've grown up with cannabis as much as it was illegal, but our people have been using it for years, whether it be medicinal, whether it be recreational. It's a plant that has been utilized by our people for years. And when we saw what the Apollon team was doing in Jamaica, we just wanted to be part and parcel of that. And why reinvent the wheel when you can get that assistance from Apollon from the get-go?
Tell us a bit more, if you will, Thokozani, about the medical cannabis market in South Africa. What's it like? What's the scope?
So as I said, cannabis was legalized in around about 2018. So we're still in our infancy stage. Everybody is trying to create a opportunity for themselves and for us. We decided to come into obviously the processing, production, but also focus on the cultivation side. I think, Tim, we will be aware that we are currently struggling as a country from a high unemployment rate. And for us, it was important as a business to identify opportunities where we could try and create those permanent and sustainable job opportunities for our people as well. So it made sense for us to focus on cultivation as well. Thanks, Tim.
So when two companies come together like this to create a joint venture, they presumably are benefits for both of you. Can I go to Stene first? Stene, what opportunities does this bring to Apollon?
Well, it gives us an opportunity to a much wider market We, as I mentioned earlier, we are, we're starting in South Africa with a 60 million population, which will widen out to the SADC countries, the Southern African Development Community, currently leading the space, but mostly in the cultivation side. So we are very enthused with with the South African government and the regulatory authorities. They have accelerated their pace to commercialize the sector. They understand, as Thokozani said, they understand there are employment upsides and there are economic upsides, and they really want to look at this on a sophisticated side. So everybody is focused in their mind to try and push this through as quickly as possible. The other SADC countries are doing very well, and Thokozani and his team have helped us already look at some of the other leaders. Lesotho was first in the SADC region to legalize in 2017, a year before South Africa. And they are leading the space, but they are leading the space only in cultivation, and they are sending their biomass and flower, etc., to legal markets like Europe and Australia. We think we're coming in at the right time of the curve. We're not, as you know, our business is not only cultivation. We've got the whole value chain. The biotech pharmaceutical side is very, very important to us, and it gives us what we believe is a foothold in Africa, which is the last real growth area for biotech pharmaceutical in the world is the African continent. So we are very excited about that.
Okay, so the JV essentially is giving you the foothold in the frontier in the African market. Thokozani, what does the joint venture bring to you and your business?
For us, the rewards are great. Take, for example, the opportunity from an education and skills transfer purposes. We've signed a agreement with our leading universities, UKZN, for example, and can you imagine just the information exchange between Stene's team and our team and our universities. Also in and around the cultivation, being able to assist with the right type of seeds that are utilized from a cultivation point of view, how to grow, how to manage. Now, all of that is very helpful in terms of helping our communities. In terms of the treatment and wellness centers, that's more down the line. But once again, from a medical tourism and a contribution into our local GDP, that's obviously very huge for South Africa and especially KZN, the province that we're driving it in. Thanks, Tim.
Stene, let me come back to you. You've established a joint venture very recently, so this is early days. But may I ask, what do the next steps look like?
Okay, so the next steps we need to incorporate the actual JV. So there'll be an Apollon SA Limited, which we will co-own. There are some steps on the ground practically that we need to look at. We've engaged with all the key stakeholders. We will need to do a trip to South Africa and meet them face to face and go through the granular side of each sector of the business. So each part of the value chain, we need to come down and actually meet people that we've been speaking to successfully over the last 5 months. From Thokozani's side, he has a very large scale cultivation license, which is imminent within March, it's looking like. So that's 256 hectares. You wouldn't think of cultivating that as to start with. It'll be on a phased basis, but there are practical steps that need to happen now, and there will be, we will let the market know as those steps develop.
Okay, so Stene, listed in London, but until now, from an operational point of view, very much focused on Jamaica. Now a joint venture in South Africa. Is this something you're going to be looking to roll out in the future of Apollon?
Yes, well, we listed in London for a reason. London's a little bit more complex on getting our products into the London market. It's something that's right on the top of my focus. South Africa is going to take some of my time. We need to get that right. It is a big market for us, and we're very excited to help Thokozani and his team, TriMedi Canna, to move that forward. But yes, the UK and the European market entry for us is very important. So we have work underfoot on that. I can't let too much slide. And a few other jurisdictions that we're looking at that we've had negotiations on, but things are looking up on growing our footprint to a global market.
So we can expect to see more. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us today. That was Thokozani Shongwe of Tri-Medi Canna in South Africa, Stene Jacobs, Chief Operating Officer of London-listed Apollon Formularies. And that's it from BlytheRay Business News for today. Thanks for watching.